My name's David Hall-Williams. I'm the founder and artistic director of Ulster Touring Opera. I've worked in opera as a director and producer for the last 8 years with companies like Welsh National Opera, Wexford Festival Opera, and Northern Ireland Opera. And I'm going to ask my colleagues Nico and Tom just to introduce themselves briefly now. I suppose starting with Tom.
Yeah, so I'm Tom Houston. I'm chief executive of a company called Sentireal. We develop bespoke augmented reality and virtual reality applications, primarily for training, but also for simulations and obviously for things like what David's talking about.
Cool. And can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm Nico, director of business development at Volograms. We are a Dublin-based startup. We are developing cutting-edge technology to bring real people into immersive media. I think this is all going to make more sense after Dav's presentation.
Great. Thanks very much, both. So hopefully the presentation will start now. So great. Well, today we'll look at our project as another case study in cross-border immersive collaboration in the arts. So Ulster Touring Opera was set up in 2019 and is based in Belfast. Our mission is to increase access to opera across Ulster through both cross-border touring regularly and through immersive technology. The province of Ulster is made up of 9 counties, 6 of which are Northern Ireland and 3, Monaghan, Cavan and Donegal, are in the Republic of Ireland. The scope of our company is to create a regulatory network of venues across the 9 counties of Ulster, as well as developing immersive opera experiences for audiences on the island of Ireland and beyond. We see both physical touring and immersive technology work as 2 points on the same spectrum of sharing our art form with new and existing audiences. In January 2020, we developed a proposal with our partners Volograms and Sentireal for the Arts Council of Northern Ireland's Creative Industries Seed Fund. The funding was supported by Future Screens NI and Digital Catapult NI, as well as the Arts Council, and was designed to encourage cross-sectoral collaboration to drive innovation in technologies and create new products, services, and experiences and content. Our project is attempting to address some significant challenges which face opera and immersive technology at the moment. Opera has always struggled with the preconception that it is elitist, and this prevents people from enjoying the transformative power of the art form. While there have been some works of very high standard presented on occasion to local audiences, there's been a lack of regular provision across the breadth of the province, and so many audiences are unfamiliar with the art form. It is vital that we grow our audience for opera and make sure that the future audiences are as diverse and inclusive as possible. UTO will tour to local venues extensively in the future. However, we cannot reach all of the areas of the province in a single tour. And so how can opera reach people even further afield? And theatre has always adapted to new technologies. It has constantly been at the forefront of pushing the boundaries of what is possible, with the potential for immersive technologies being explored across the globe in a vast range of sectors. It's important that opera is also pushing the boundaries of what this exciting technology is capable of in order to explore and develop our art form. While on the one hand, it's a fun exploration of what's possible through immersive technology, it also raises important questions about viewership explored in Walter Benjamin's essay, The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction. Benjamin states that the artistic performance of a stage actor is definitely presented to the public by the actor in person. That of a screen actor, however, is presented by the camera. The camera that presents the performance of the film actor to the public need not respect the performance as an integral whole. The audience's identification with the actor is really an identification with the camera. Consequently, the audience takes the position of the camera, and Benjamin suggests that this approach does not expose authentic artistic values. However, through immersive technology, such as augmented reality, we want to explore whether it's possible to present a digitally reproduced performance while still presenting the performance as an integral whole. As this project began in January, we had no idea that within a few months, theatres and opera houses across the world would have to shut their doors. And so a new challenge emerged for our project. Our project is designed to create an augmented reality experience based on the final moments of Don Giovanni's life in Mozart's famous opera. The scene will be brought to life in a person's living room using smartphone technology, with their home becoming the set for the opera, so that we found that there was scope within our project to also explore how opera can exist in a world without opera houses. As this is a session on cross-border collaboration and immersive technology, we wanted to show the workflow for this case study on a map, just so you can follow our progress. Baritone Rosram Gobin was cast in the role of Don Giovanni, and Northern Irish bass Alan Ewing was cast as Commendatore. We wanted the project to be a 5-minute experience, and the scene is around 7 minutes long in the opera, and also includes a third character, Don Giovanni's servant Leporello. We commissioned a new piano reduction of the scene to 5 minutes and cut poor Leporello out of the scene. On the 22nd of September this year, following all government guidelines, we held an audio recording of the scene at St. Paul's Church, Knightsbridge in London, when the lifting of COVID restrictions allowed us to use the venue. We recorded the audio in multi-track in case we were able to bring in spatial audio elements to the as the project develops. And we also were able to work on the blocking for the scene and film this for reference as we prepare for the volumetric recording. The next phase of the project will take place in Dublin, where we will make a volumetric recording of the performers. Nico will be able to share more detail about the technical aspects of phase 2 after this presentation. However, from a directing perspective, we had to ask the performers to work in a very different way. Because the green screen studio is only large enough for one person to stand in, the performers will have to record their blocking individually. I also direct the postgraduate vocal studies students at Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London, and one of the parts of their training as performers is to listen and react organically to their partners in the scene. But this is not possible when you're in an isolated green screen box. The nature of their movements also had to be more specific, as fast movements are not captured well on the numerous cameras. We're using Laban movement technique in order to steer clear of efforts like flicking and punching, and instead focusing on pressing, ringing, and gliding in order to keep the motions both natural and recordable. Once we've made these volumetric image files, we move to post-production in Belfast. So this will take place in Belfast with Sentireal, bringing together the in order to create the experience. The program will be taught how to recognize certain parts of a room, such as the ceiling, walls, and floor, so the performers appear in the correct place for the scene to begin. Sentireal will also develop an application for mobile phones so we can begin beta testing. So beta testing will take place about 2 months after post-production begins. We will tour the experience to 3 venues, 2 in Northern Ireland and 1 in the Republic of Ireland. And at each venue, we will have 2 handsets, which will already have the experience preloaded onto them. And then venues will invite outreach groups and local audiences to take part in socially distanced beta testing at their venues. And lastly, we'll just talk about some of the remaining challenges for our project as we moved forwards through it. The first and probably the most difficult is COVID-19 travel restrictions. So our performers will need to travel from the UK to the Republic of Ireland in order to do an afternoon of filming. However, under the current guidelines, they would have to quarantine. We're just waiting for a travel corridor to open so that we can complete this phase of the project, and we had some good news on that this morning. Digital performer interaction. So as I mentioned, the performers will be filmed individually and brought together digitally. This presents some interesting challenges. For example, for those of you who know the scene, they might wonder how we do the icy handshake between Don Giovanni and the Commendatore. And we've had a few solutions, such as a green prop in the filming space, which will allow the performers to reach out and hold the hand of their scene partner. And another example is that I wanted the Commendatore to circle Don Giovanni early in the scene, and we had lots of conversations about hiring an omnidirectional treadmill and how we might make this work. But actually, we then decided to just teleport the Commendatore around. And this is both much more effective in the scene and is a creative solution to a technical challenge. And lastly, I just wanted to kind of mention spatial audio. Now, while this is not strictly a challenge to the project and was not part of the initial proposal, this is an area we're very keen to explore. This enables the program to imitate wave propagation so that as you move around the performers, the audio experience changes in relation to the virtual objects. If there's scope at the end of the project to bring in some sense of location to the different voices, then this would be a very exciting development. So I'd like to take the opportunity to ask Nico and Tom just to speak about their respective parts in the workflow for this project, and I'll hand over to Nico first.
Great. So just a quick explanation of what we're going to do from a technical perspective. So this multi-camera setup, a small studio that we have in Dublin, actually hosted by Trinity College Dublin, where the company initially spun out from. It's similar to a green screen studio that you might have seen for normal video productions, but this one is 360 greens. So you have walls and ceiling and floor, they're all green, and that enable us to shoot the sequence from all angles with 12 cameras, and then we process that thanks to our algorithms into proper 3D. This is a technique called volumetric capture or volumetric video, and that's actually the output that Tom would use to put together the experience. Just a few comments on this. Daf already commented on the challenges that we have in geographically. From our perspective, I think that actually a great advantage of working across the border in this case is that sometimes it is hard for us as an Irish company to find local partners and companies to source projects from and deliver the projects together. And the good thing about collaborating with Belfast is that there's an amazing ecosystem of VR and AR companies based in the city, and every time that something pops up and we can just knock on someone's door, just as it was said before, 2 hours drive up north, it's a great way of putting projects together and getting things done. So we always look out for these kind of opportunities, and so far this project, I think, is being one of these examples. And leaving aside the challenges of COVID for the London-based singers to come to Dublin, I think that everything so far has been a great experience.
Cheers, Nico. We were actually introduced to DAFID by Digital Catapult, and I think there's a sense of fear actually when he started to tell us exactly what he wanted to do, because anyone who understands developing augmented reality apps, it's not something you would choose to do. It kind of sounds quite straightforward, but it's actually incredibly difficult to take a fully animated photorealistic character and put that into augmented reality, especially when you're then trying to do that with multiple characters. The thing with the AR is that you actually lose control of how the user consumes the production. So they can actually literally get up and walk around and view the production from pretty much any angle, and that introduces a lot of problems. It also means that a lot of the tricks that we would normally use in virtual reality, where although it looks like a 3D object, effectively what you're looking at is a flat projection almost. We can't do that with augmented reality. So fortunately, our founder, David Traynor, had come across Volograms, ironically enough, at another Digital Catapult event sometime earlier. And what Volograms give us is effectively a solid 3D character recording that we can actually use without having to implement massive processing power. So we can actually now deploy something like this on a smartphone instead of a device tethered to a really powerful PC. So it's still not easy, but having partners that are all in the same time zone, speak the same language, allows us to shortcut any of the issues really, really quickly. I think the culture also allows us to ask questions in a way that you might not with someone outside of Ireland. I think that's also a great thing. We've found the cross-border aspect of it pretty seamless, to be honest. And I think one of the other benefits we have, which is Daft's lack of technical knowledge, is actually a really good thing, because he asks for things without seeing any limitations. And that kind of pushes us then to try and push the boundaries a bit. So that's pretty much, that's me. Back to you, Daf.
Thanks very much, both. And once again, thank you to Orla and Rosie for inviting us today.